All right, so it's been 2 years since we've had an MCU film since Endgame, right? Or not Endgame, Far From Home, and we've had stuff on Disney Plus. Now we have Black Widow. Finally got the Blu-ray. Before I get into my actual review, I'm gonna complain about this. All right, not this. I like the red. I'm a red guy. My favorite color is red. I like this. I like that there's a change in the case. We haven't seen it. So I think it was Avengers: Age of Ultron had a red case, which I no longer have on it. I should actually put that back on there. And then Ant-Man had a different color case too. Should also put that one back on there. But I wanted them all blue to match. But I kind of want them the original way they were. But yes, so this is cool, nice and red. But we can't be original when it comes to the disc. Because we just got to go back to the old standby blue. You couldn't give this a red cover? I mean, come on. If you're going to do the case red, you should on the disc red. It's stupid. So yes, this came out in theaters and Disney Plus, where they're going to charge you up the ass for $30 to watch a movie you would pay less than 10 bucks for, 10 bucks, maybe less, maybe a little bit more for in a movie theater. But they're going to charge you $30. I'm sorry. I bought this for $25 because Disney is just going to charge you up the ass anyway, so why not? But I don't have, I'm just saying that Disney Plus Premium is bullshit. That's all I'm saying. What I'm saying is if Peacock and HBO Max can put new movies on their streaming services for no additional fees, you cannot be a dick, Disney, and just do that. But no, they gotta make money. No. So before I continue, just my reaction to Disney and their Disney Plus Premium, that. So let's get back to this. Let's get into this. Black Widow, a movie that everybody wanted to happen since her backstory was somewhat explored in Avengers: Age of Ultron. They then decided to wait until after they killed her off in Avengers Endgame, spoilers of course, and then tell Black Widow. And I know why they did it, because we got a Black Widow movie coming up, right? And wouldn't it be shocking? Wouldn't it surprise the audience? They wouldn't see it coming. And I'll admit, when Avengers Endgame, when that happened, right? And you see her and you see Clint, right? Hawkeye. And they're going, when you first watch the movie, you're like, oh, Hawkeye's dead. She's got a movie coming up. So she can't die. But then she dies, and then you go, what the hell? How can she be dead? She's got a movie. Well, they answer that question because the bulk of this movie, except for the first 20 minutes, takes place in 2016. And I like the last few minutes, but takes place in 2016 between the events of Captain America Civil War and Infinity War. And, yes. I also feel like there's some retconning. But that's towards the end of the film. Like, just one little part. And at first I thought there was some here too, because the first part of this film, we're going to get into it now, has a young Natasha in 1995. Scarlett Johansson is around my age, I believe. I think she's around my age. So in 1995, I personally would have been 8 years old, right? So she would have been around that, I think. I believe it was 8 years old because I'm 5, and then in 92 and 3. Yeah, I'd be 8 years old. So I think she would have been around that too, and that works. And she's with what we're assumed to be her family, But then you start to think about, and I thought, I'm like, wait a minute. No. Because, she sees her mom and then her dad. And I'm like, wait. She said she didn't know her dad's name in Endgame. Are they retconning? I mean, come on. That was 2 movies ago. You're going to retcon? No. These 2 are actually agents of the Red Room. One of them is Alexei, not going to pronounce his Russian last name. The other one is Melina, also not going to pronounce her Russian last name. They are agents. Alexei is also the Red Guardian, a Russian Captain America. So we're just retconning the super serum to hell, aren't we? Oh. I have to keep mentioning this because I mentioned this in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. After Erskine died, they said there was no one who could make the serum. That it was gone. That Steve Rogers was the only one. Now there's a Russian guy, and somehow these radicals in 20 whatever fucking ever, everybody seems to think it's 2024. I think it takes place somewhat right after Endgame, but who knows? In 2023, 24-ish, there's now a group of radicals who have super soldier serum, even though there shouldn't be any, because Erskine was the only one that had the formula. Somehow they still got it. Because he needs retcon stuff. And now we have a Russian guy who is super soldier serum. And like when he flips truck, I'm like, no. No. They specifically said, and from what it sounds like, no, I think maybe he was made after Steve. That also causes problems because Erskine was the only one who knew the formula. So how the hell? I don't know. But, who knows? But, yeah, and they get uprooted from their life because police or something. They never explain what they are. I think they're just local police in Ohio. Find them and they get away. But then Yelena and Natasha are taken away to the Red Room where, you get this hysterectomy thing and they become Black Widows, right? Then we cut to 2016 and she's on the run from Ross. And after the events of Civil War. And here they're laying down a list of stuff she did wrong. Like, aiding Captain America. They said she attacked the King of Wakanda. Did she even... I don't remember her actually fighting T'Challa, though. Did she, electrocute him or something? What did she do? I don't remember. I haven't seen Civil War in a while. I don't remember what she did to T'Challa that would be on there. And for some reason, they say she violated the Sokovia Accords. Well, by all definition, the Sokovia Accords aren't but dog shit. Because you created the Sokovia Accords to control the Avengers. You used Tony Stark's emotions after a lady showed him a picture of her dead son. You used his emotions and created the Sokovia Accords because you took the opportunity to do this. And you said, this is my opportunity to control the Avengers. And that's why you created the Sokovia Accord. And you didn't expect anyone to have common sense and know what you were planning. You didn't expect anyone to figure it out. So yeah, you're going to have some people who don't want to sign your little thing. I'm still impressed that Vision was one of the ones who wanted to sign the Accords. Being as he is the one with the most knowledge and should have figured out what they were trying to do. I'm just saying, I always felt like Vision should have been on Team Cap. But, yeah, enough of my problems with the Sokovia Accords. They shouldn't exist anyway. But, and they should not even be a thing anymore, but they keep bringing them up. You've heard the Sokovia Accords. They shouldn't exist anymore. They should have thrown that out the window when the Avengers saved the fucking world from Thanos. You're just like, you know what? We'll tear these up. That's what should have happened. But no, you still gotta bring those back. Anyway, so in 2016, Yelena, under the control of the Red Room, is fighting off another assassin who has something that she has to bring back, and she throws this red powder in Yelena's face, and we find out it's a deactivating agent that, you know, stops the control from the Red Room. So she takes these vials and she sends them to Black Widow's secret house in Budapest. Yeah, we're going there. And she goes to that house and she finds Yelena. She brings him back. She didn't want him to bring it back. And they, reconnect and stuff like that because they were sisters. And they do this one thing. This whistle at the beginning, I'm like, okay, that's how when they meet up again, they're gonna do that. But they don't. They don't use that again until the end when they say goodbye. I'm just like, I think they're like, oh wait a minute, we brought that up. We need to bring it back, but we already wrote most of the movie. Just add it at the end. That's what it seems like. But yeah, so they reconnect. I do want to mention that, as a James Bond fan, and going through the movies, and I got one left, by the way, as I'm reviewing this movie, she is watching Moonraker on TV. And I do find it funny, because there's a lot of James Bondisms in this film. Specifically, a bunch of women being controlled by a supervillain. That's straight out of Her Majesty's Secret Service. Only he's not using magic lights to control them. It's a computer program. Okay. We find out what happened in Budapest. Everything we've been hearing about since the beginning. Budapest. And I don't think they actually knew what Budapest was going to be. And they figured, this is her movie. She's dead. We have to do something. We have to explain Budapest. And I feel like it was built up so much that this was just... So we find out that Budapest was her and Hawkeye destroying the Red Room, essentially. They killed Dreykov and his daughter. And from the minute they showed that this guy had a daughter, and that we already knew Dreykov was alive, I figured out the twist. And I went, daughter, well, but he died, but she... Oh no, don't. Just don't. They did. And we'll get to it. But they did. And I'm not entirely mad at it, to be honest. But it is disappointing, and we'll get to it. So they decide that they being Natasha and Yelena have to go break Alexei out of prison. And he's talking about how he fought Captain America in the 80s, but he was still frozen in ice, and even everybody else knows that. And apparently he's getting a tattoo while doing arm wrestling, which I don't think is possible. It messed up the tattoo, I think. I never got any tattoos, but I'm pretty sure you have to stay still when you're getting a tattoo. I don't know. I'm just saying. And they rescue him, and then they realize they have to go to Melina and find her, and she's controlling pigs. And she basically has the same kind of control thing as the others. So this is where it kind of slows down. They have their family get back together thing and reunion, and everybody keeps denying that this thing was a family, but Yelena's the one that wants to keep it, they do later admit that it was a family, but I can see how the argument for it was just a job. as well, but it was a family, I guess. But then it's revealed that Melina called the Red Room, and they're on their way there. So the Red Room show up after this little jokey dance thing, because we see earlier at the beginning of the film that Elena likes the song American Pie by Don McLean. Long ass song, but yeah, so he starts singing to her, and then the bad guys show up, and he's like, "You cannot take me down, I am the Red Guardian," and it shoots. They do mention Crimson Dynamo as well. He's like, "Red Guardian." So Crimson Dynamo was mentioned. You know, he gets shot with one of the little tranquilizers. Like, "You'll think that can..." Ooh. It's funny, but we just had sort of a serious moment. And then a joke. You know, I've heard complaints about how the MCU does this. They'll do a real serious moment and they think, "Oh, that's too serious. Let's debuff it with a joke." That is kind of a problem. It seems like something serious happens, there's a joke right after it. And it's very noticeable. I will mention, but some of the jokes do land for me. Like, I did laugh. "Oh, you think this gonna..." Okay, that's funny. But yeah. So, this is where they get captured. And they're brought to Dreykov. And I realized here that something was off to me. I'm just like, wait. Why did they have to be captured to go to Dreykov? They should be storming the Red Room to fight Dreykov, not getting... Yes, they had a plan, but why did they... This is where the writing kind of topples a little bit for me, kind of wavers a little bit. Why did they need to get captured to take on Dreykov? Because I was wondering where was it going to go from here. They're going to escape, they're going to run off, and then he's going to come after them. No, them getting captured is what starts off the third act. And it's here that I was like, why, though? They should be preparing to fight them, not getting captured. And then, we had a secret plan the whole time. And Black Widow is... Melina is actually Black Widow. Because they would have handy-dandy face mask thingies. Because this is now Mission Impossible. It's not the only other movie they rip off. Besides various other MCU films as well. But they have face masky thingies. Then they feel, "Oh no, it's us." And then we get the reveal. She's in Dreykov's office. She can't kill Dreykov because of a pheromone that he has that they smell. And it stops them from killing him or attacking him or hurting him. RoboCop. It's RoboCop. It's RoboCop. That's all it is. It's RoboCop. They did the RoboCop thing and they made it stupid. I'm just saying. I rolled my eyes at this. I'm like, a fucking pheromone? I'm like, is there some kind of computer chip in her that would have made more sense? But no, it's a pheromone, and it can't kill him. So she goats him into punching her in the nose so that it breaks her sinuses, and then she just smashes her face on the desk and it gets rid of it. But that is after we get the reveal of the Taskmaster. Now, I was actually a little bit excited for the Taskmaster because I remember the Taskmaster from the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. I thought it was a pretty badass villain in there. But once again, my animated dreams got shattered. They did it with the Mandarin when we had Trevor Slattery, and I know they at least tried to rectify that in Shang-Chi. But from everything I've read, he's not the real Mandarin either. He's called Wenwu. And that's what he's credited as, Wenwu. I'm like, wait a minute, where's the Mandarin? And then I read his description on Wikipedia, known also sometimes known as the Mandarin. To me, that says he's just given the moniker of the Mandarin. I'm starting to criticize Shang-Chi, a movie I haven't even seen. I'm just looking up stuff on Wikipedia. But I'm just saying. And they kind of ruined the Taskmaster. Remember I said there was a twist that I saw coming? It's his daughter. Now, nothing against a female Taskmaster. Nothing at all. But do something with it. She's a mindless zombie controlled by a computer chip. Remember that. Controlled by a computer chip. He says it himself. He made a computer chip, and she does whatever he tells him to do and can now mimic everybody else's movements. Has all the movements of the Avengers, and the Black Panther and she has her own shield, like Captain America, and can mimic Black Widow. She can mimic, right? And from what you see of her as Taskmaster, she's not bad. There's some good action scenes, but this reveal also ruins the character. And MCU has problems with villains already. You introduce Taskmaster, who is a very heavy-handed villain in Ultimate Spider-Man. He was the Shield was after him, and you do this, a mindless robotic female, human female, by the way. Just no, it doesn't work. Not necessarily because she's female. If you did it right, if you what they call gender swapped the character and still made her a real main villain. Like, when she said she killed Dreykov, right? I thought, he's the Taskmaster, and he's kind of no. And then they show him in the office, and I'm like, wait, if he's not the Taskmaster, then who is? And then they showed a flashback with his daughter, and I went, no, don't do that. It's stupid. It's stupid, but they did it. And then, so they escape, and Natasha has sort of a showdown with him after she breaks her own nose, and she fights him off. She doesn't kill him because, she tried to kill him earlier. She wasn't able to. So obviously she's just going to beat the shit out of him and not kill him, even though she can obviously do that now. But we got to have him there for the final act. So he runs away, and a bunch of the Black Widows come in. Even though, Yelena has the antidote powder stuff, and she kind of wrapped it around a grenade. And there's a scene, I don't know if it's edited wrong, but it looks like she's standing in the hallway, looking down as they're walking the other way. I'm like, okay, just throw it. And then all of a sudden, they're in Dreykov's office, and they're fighting. And they're winning against Black Widow, or, Natasha. And I'm like, wait. Wasn't Yelena right there in the same hallway with them? Why didn't she throw it then? And then all of a sudden, when they're about to beat her, she throws it in and goes, poof. I'm like, oh, we got to wait for a dramatic moment when she's about to be beaten up. The character that we know can't die because she's going to die later. How is that dramatic? Just have her throw it down the hallway when she's right there. No, we gotta make it dramatic. Think she's gonna be, she's not gonna. That's another problem with this, is that they, a couple times in this film, play it as if she might die. We know she's not gonna die. This is set before events in which she does die. So you're not going to fool us. But I know there was that rumor that Natasha actually died in this film and it was Yelena the whole time. But if it was, the sacrifice wouldn't have worked. And she wouldn't have sacrificed herself for Clint. So people who came up with the idea is just stupid. All right? But yes, so we gotta have the big thing gets destroyed and falls from the sky thing. So Dreykov's office is in the sky somehow. And, of course, Melina destroys one of the engines and it falls down. Yelena, there's another thing is that we've seen in scenes like Yelena is wearing this vest. It's the same vest that Natasha wore in Infinity War. So people thought, Yelena dies in this, and that's why she wears the vest. But that's not. And you get a scene where she destroys Dreykov's ship. He explodes. And she flies off. Okay, this is where she's going to die. But no, Natasha saves her. And then they get down to the ground. And then they have one last fight between Natasha and Dreykov's daughter, Taskmaster. And by the way, speaking of Bond connections, not just the movie that was playing, not just the plot with the controlling the women from Majesties, but also the actress who played Camila Montes in Quantum is the Taskmaster. Little info there. So they're fighting, and then Natasha throws the powder in her face, and it works. And I'm sitting there going, no. That shouldn't work. Because she's not controlled like the Black Widows with hypnotism. She's controlled by a computer chip. Computer chips cannot be stopped by a magic dust. It's clear they didn't know how they were going to turn her good, and they already said it was a microchip. So we'll just have her throw the dust in her face, even though it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Why would the dust affect a computer chip? If you threw it right in there, but it goes in her face, and then she's basically back to normal. Sort of. They say that they can still see things, but they can't do anything about it. But I'm just scratching my head trying to think how that makes sense. It doesn't at all. But then they say, we got to get out of here because Ross is now coming. She's like, no, you guys go. And they meet up, their family, they leave, go whistle thing. And then, the Black Widows show up. There's a plane. Everybody gets in except for Natasha. They fly off. And then Ross pulls up and doesn't anything about the plane that's flying away, but And then we cut to 2 weeks later. And she has the blonde hair she hinted at earlier. But 2 weeks later is still 2016. Infinity War takes place in 2018. So she dyed her hair more than once? Because if she dyed her hair here, that does not last for 2 years. Hair dye does not last for 2 years. You have to reapply it. So she would have to dye her hair just before she went on to the important mission to help Vision and Wanda. I know they wanted us to see her with the hair, but they also wanted to show, this is where I say it's retconning, because she gets this jet from this handler guy who we never met before, but she somehow had anyway. Another retcon. And she has this new ship, which is the same ship that shows up in Infinity War. And now she's going to go rescue the Avengers from the thing they were at the end of Civil War. Just one problem. She wasn't there. We see when the rescue happens in Civil War, and Steve Rogers is the only one there. And here, Steve's not even there. So it makes no sense. They wanted to show her with the blonde hair and the vest. So why didn't you just have her say this takes place 2 years later, and then say, I've got an important mission. We have to go rescue some people, some friends of ours in wherever they are in that movie. Pay attention to their own continuity All right, because you retcon some stuff, and then the movie ends, right? So we get the end credit scene. Yelena at Natasha's grave, and then Valentina from from Falcon and the Winter Soldier shows up and gives her next mission. So I'm confused. She didn't want to kill people for the Red Room, but now she's killing people for someone else. How is that character development? It makes no sense. She didn't like killing for the Red Room, which is why they want to take down the Red Room. But now she's killing for Valentina. Oh, by the way, her next assignment, Hawkeye. So she's going to be in the Hawkeye show, but she wasn't in the trailer. And now it all makes sense because I watched Sean Chandler's reaction, and he, those little things they'll pop up. He'll put it in post. One of them said, "No, Yelena," and I'm like, why would she be there? Now I know why. But this still doesn't make any sense. She wanted to get away from killing for the Red Room. So why would she be killing people now? It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. But whatever. I didn't hate this movie. There were some problems I had with it, but it's not the worst MCU movie. It's not the best. I think it's somewhere in the middle, I think. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. I think it's fine for what it is. I think it's a little late. And I don't mean just because of the 2-year wait and the pushback from COVID. I mean, they should have done this after Civil War. You should have had Civil War and then done this. And then Infinity War. Because other than the connections with from Falcon and Winter Soldier, I keep saying that, there's really... how does this go with the rest of the MCU? We got WandaVision, Loki, and What If that all have to do with the multiverse, as well as Spider-Man No Way Home. And Multiverse of Madness. I don't know where Shang-Chi and the Eternals fit in. Honestly, I don't really care for the Eternals. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. But I don't know. It's very weird. But maybe this is supposed to be a palate cleanser between, the events of the end of Phase 3 and start the beginning of Phase 4 with a little palate cleanser. But then we had WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier come out before this. And WandaVision was very big on the multiverse stuff. And this is just a basic spy story, much like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. But I don't know. Like I said, it gets a 6 out of 10 for me. I thought it was okay. It's not terrible. It's not fantastic. It's okay. It's good. It's okay. So what are your thoughts on Black Widow? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.